Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Tournament of the Month, Pod 1. We've got a fun little matchup here for you. Lots of things to talk about this evening as we go into it. I'm Retrophile TV here, joined by the one, the only, I am Gar. Hello, Gar. How you doing, friend?
Hey, Retro. I am fantastic. It's a great day to have a Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide race, and I know that you're excited for this as well as I am.
Oh yeah, this one's going to be really exciting and a very unique race to bring up here. This is a Plando, where it was actually spoiler logs were given out with the generation of the seed itself, and the racers have had a chance to do their homework and basically be able to look at this. And it's kind of a unique way of going through the seed where they're able to kind of see, they know what to expect, and it's going to come down to being able to route and adjust based on how things are thrown at them at this point. But there should be a basic plan in place. Gar and myself have had a chance to take a gander at it, and there's some good little gotchas that are going to be in place here. But the main rub for this one is that the more bosses you complete as you go through the seed itself, you will potentially get penalized with some bad status effects like auto sleep, auto muddle, auto mute, auto condemned, etc., etc. The further you go down the chain, so you want to minimize the amount of bosses you're going to be facing, but you actually require, on this one, we're going to be doing 7 and 10. 7 characters, 10 pieces of Magicite. Gar, I looked at this spoiler log, and I kind of went through it, I'm like, you know that GIF online where you see like the whole, like the calculus equations kind of flashing forward? Like, that's what
exactly
this looks
what
like.
about. Yeah. So I like this way more than I thought I might. The planning stage for these seeds usually for me lasts around 3 or so hours, but it's just so much fun trying to route these things. And you route, and then you go back and you're like, oh wait, no, I forgot about this. I can route this in, and then sometimes you find something that changes your entire route. And I don't know. I think it's a ton of fun. And I think with this feed in particular, our racers are going to have to deal with a couple of snags in the way. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle that, because there are a couple of things that could potentially be disastrous if they wind up being more difficult than anticipated. We'll put it to you that way.
Hey, right you are there, Gar. We're going to see how the plans work out here, but I fully anticipate that we're going to see things diverge as we go. This is a character-gated seed. It is not open world, so they will be restricted. We know who the starting characters will be, as have they, so I'm kind of curious to see how things work out. There are some rewards for excellent planning and kind of focusing on certain bosses. I'm going to take a look at what we have here in the list. Looks like the bonuses that you could potentially get for this one, the biggest one, hands down, is if we find and defeat Goddess and Chatternook, gotta beat both of them, we get a randomized amount of 20 to 25 magic power for all. That's what the range was, at least. But long story short, magic power is pretty big. Conversely, if you want vigor, by plus 35 to everybody, you can defeat Magimaster. If you want a boost in speed, you can defeat Doomgaze. So you get some good stuff out of it. But if you defeat too many bosses and you keep dipping too far into the seed at this point, you can start adding levels to them, adding levels to the scaling, and again, all those penalties I'd mentioned. So looking on the board here, looks like we have auto slow, auto muddle, auto seizure, auto mute, and auto condemned. So trying to limit that as much as possible. Making this route not only as quick as possible, but as efficient as possible throughout is probably going to be the biggest thing. But trying to get those additional bonuses definitely could help sway, especially the final climb being as quick as possible. So, should be fun. I'm very excited to see exactly how we take this.
Yeah, it's definitely like a lot more of a puzzle that needs to be solved, because you're trying to, like you said, you're trying to optimize for efficiency as far as your checks go. But you're also trying to minimize the amount of bosses that you get, because starting at, I believe it's boss number 13, you start getting penalized, and those penalties start racking up steeper and steeper as you continue to kill bosses. So I know that when I personally do these, I try to minimize the amount of bosses that I kill, just overall. But sometimes you just can't help it. And in this seed, that may very well be the case. So here are our runners. They're starting with Locke, Gogo, and Celeste. Celeste is going to have the Tools command, and Locke actually has Magitech, so pretty strong opener here.
And right away we see a few things kind of diverging. Or Falcon Hit running off to World of Ruin Narsh, and I would totally be all for that. Maybe going to see what the Curse Shield's going to be, and be able to bang out a weapon check that's here, as he does. Oh, we have NPC remove also, looks like. Didn't even have to hack the door open. I forgot that was in there. So that'll be nice, a nice little quality of life. And stopping off at the weapon shop at that point. I will say I did take a gander. It is very nice to be able to look through all of the chests and see, what's there. We don't know the exact chest, but we know what location certain things are. And I did see that if we can find Terra, I don't know about you, Gar, but Sealed Cave going to be looking pretty stacked if we can get there. Some real nice things on the table for that one. So I would imagine that if they've routed in getting Terra potentially, that might be something we'll see dipping in. Some very good treasures there. A lot of Thunder Shields out there. I really didn't see too much other elemental protection, however, for whatever reason.
Yeah, so I counted a total of 3 Thunder Shields just in general, plus a Flame Shield here in the World of Ruin South Figaro. So again, well, there it is. It's not known exactly where the things are, but we know that they are there. So there was that Illumina that was in the Narsh house. That's a very, very solid pickup. It looks like you can also trade Mithril Blades for Illuminas at the Colosseum. You do have to fight the Hippocampus enemy, which can be a little rough.
Kind of curious, Gar, if we're going to see people potentially go to the Colosseum as well, because one thing that was mentioned, I mean, you can see exactly all the rewards, I think, that are in the spoiler log also. If you can't, I did see the flag that was listed that 100% of the rewards will be revealed that are there. So if there's something that they want to route in, potentially maybe swapping out some of those Thunder Shields maybe for something else, depending if the reward is good, they'll be able to see that out of the gate, maybe plan that accordingly. If you can build up for that, might be a good idea. But yeah, I think we're going to be seeing some certain checks potentially avoided that potentially have multiple bosses involved, exactly like Moblas. I think that's a 2-boss check. Right out of the gate for only for one thing. So again, we're looking for efficiency. We're going to be highlighting those free checks as we go along here that will not have bosses and pushing potentially toward that counter. The good news is it's not like there's no free lunches. It wasn't disabled. You can get progression through some of those free checks. Free checks being Crumbling House for Sabin, on the throne for Edgar. Things that are not boss guarded at the regard. So we'll see how that works out.
Yep, so all 4 of our runners just doing like a pretty standard opener here. There are 2 Thunder Shields that are in the South Figaro basement. So that combined with the Flame Shield in the World of Ruin outside, your initial party at least is going to be pretty well protected. You talked about the Sealed Gate Cave earlier and how stacked it was, and boy oh boy, is it stacked. There are a lot of goodies in there. You can find a Minerva, if I'm not mistaken. I believe there's more elemental shields in there. Additionally, you can find Minervas in the Colosseum. You can trade them for barrier rings, and all you gotta do is kill a Templar, a very easy enemy to kill.
Oh, yeah.
And you can buy barrier rings at a bunch of different shops. So as far as defense goes, this seed has basically everything that you could ever want. For offense, you're going to have Merton. You're going to have Merton on a lot of Espers. I counted 4 that could potentially be in this loot path. So those 3 elemental shields, the Minervas that you can pick up, there will be a Thunder Shield coming up in one of these checks. You're going to be Merton protected. So all of our runners should know that. And I would be very surprised if any of them wind up skipping that opportunity.
And one thing I will mention, though, Gar, is that one thing that we forgot to mention along the point, that permadeath is enabled for this. So there is no life magic that will be learned. Phoenix will be using life 3 at that point. No Ultima either that's available, but permadeath will definitely kind of keep it up there. So having all those defensive abilities available, definitely a good thing. I saw a couple stacked Espers in the pile that maybe we'll see come across here, and I would actually kind of use those as a base for routing personally. Get that magic power +2 Esper early on. I forget which one that had it. I'll have to take a look at back in the spoiler log, but there was one that it was teaching Merton times 15 with magic power +2. So that'd be a nice one to kind of hop around with.
Yeah, so I wrote down that appears to be the Ragnarok Esper. And funny thing about the spoiler log is that it does not differentiate between Ragnarok the Esper and Ragnarok the Big Stick. So, Ragnarok in this seed will either be at Gal's father's house or at Kefka Narsh, where you have to fight Shatternook in order to get it.
Which, of course, as we mentioned, is one of those key bosses. If you beat Chatternook and Goddess, you get that magic power boost, which I'm sure all of our runners here would be very interested in having.
Yes, indeed. And one other thing that we didn't mention is that you only start with one Moogle charm. I don't know about you, Retro, but I like my Moogle charms. I like my full set of 3. So in these types of seeds, I try to find, like, if there's additional Moogle charms to be had, I'm pretty aggressive about picking them up. So.
Now, that's something I actually didn't notice while going through the swirl log, because I just take that for granted that, oh, you know, it's Worlds Collide, we're going to have 3 Moogle charms available unless they're one of the challenges are enabled, or you don't get any of them at all. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely hot potato it around and kind of work with it, but that's kind of annoying to deal with. Having all 3 would be nice. We see one free Fitz picking up Shadow there in the basement of World. I shouldn't say World Room, but South Figaro basement. Basically, that's one of Celeste's checks that we have. So they'll be up there again. 7 characters, 10 Espers is the goal here, friends, and that would be another freebie that you're able to get some progression on here. So very good.
Mark did find Moogle charms for sale in that looks like World of Balance, Albrook.
Yeah, and that's what it looks like as well. Looking at the log now to see if that's the case, but yeah, if you only have one, it definitely it would be a nice little quality of life to have those available. All right, so now we go to Thamasa for Mark. At this point, going to do the loop on the outside here, grab a couple of things along the way. Now, we don't have Strago or Realm at this point, so just coming in here just to grab some stuff. Again, looking at that log, it's a lot to consider. I will say this, Gar, just stepping back for a moment, it's like I feel like I'm very comfortable with this game. I feel like I have pretty good knowledge of it. But literally when you give me all of the information, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lines of detail to sift through, shops and magic and espers and characters and checks, it's a lot to consider, and there's no real way to quote, solve a seed in the amount of time that you're given, even with all the information in front of you at this point. It basically, you just have to kind of like, I don't want to say reverse engineer a seed, but you basically have to come up with what's the plan of attack? What do I want to focus on? What do I want to route based on? And then try to put that in some sort of logical order. But even with best laid plans, you can run into situations where maybe you're under-leveled. Maybe you're hitting a wall that you weren't expecting to hit. But getting geared up as defensive as possible, especially with permadeath on the table at this point, what I'm trying to say is it's still a very, very large mountain to climb, even with all the information at your fingertips.
Yeah, no question about that. I do want to point out a couple of things before I dive into, I guess, like the more philosophical side of how do you run this sort of seed. Mark went to Gal's dad's house, picked up the Ragnarok sword, which means that the Ragnarok Esper is in fact going to be at Kefka Narsh. So they are going to have to fight that Chatternook if they want it. And like you were saying earlier, that's a really juicy one to get. It's magic power +2, and it teaches Merton at like a ×15 rate. So very, very enticing offer for sure. As far as how to run these seeds, I know that personally the first thing that I do is Control F for EXP egg. The sooner I can get an egg, the better. So if my route has an egg that I can feasibly get, I will do everything in my power to get it. Levels are just so insanely valuable in Final Fantasy VI. Not to mention just the randomizer in general. Getting more of them is never a bad thing. So the earlier that you can find an egg, the better off you tend to be. So that's my thing. And then I start wondering about offense. Like if I can get an egg, then it's like, okay, where are the Illuminas? Where are the Ragnaroks? Where are the Atma weapons? Where are the Valiant knives? And then there's armor, you know, where are the snow mufflers? Where are the Minervas? Where are the elemental shields? And then you just go down the list. Eventually, you have a list of where everything is, and you combine that with your starting characters, and you can build your route from there.
It's actually a nice thing to kind of think about, is like looking for those sought after S tier, you know, seed making items at that point, just having that availability, getting that elemental protection taken care of here. I will say that it looks like the Schwantz, one of the first ones to dip into the Coliseum right away. We see Mark digging into Phoenix Cave to go down that route. We get a boss fight here on Fitz's side, facing Ultras and Chupon. So, again, even with this being a character-gated seed, with all the information available, we've seen just huge divergence across the board here. We're gonna see 4 unique approaches to how this seed should be handled, just from start to finish, which is absolutely incredible to see, and also speaks to the versatility and enjoyment of Worlds Collide. And friends, if you do want to join Worlds Collide, ff6worldscollide.com. Please roll up a seed. Join the Discord, hop in with us. Again, this is a weekly spot here on SpeedGaming. Big thanks to them allowing us to be here a little bit later than usual. Usually we're around a little bit earlier, but we were able to work with them and our runners here to have a primetime late night match for you fine folks here on SpeedGaming. So please be sure to check that out, be here for it. We also have our own Twitch channel, FF6 Worlds Collide, here on Twitch. We run other events there, so if you want to see more races and competitive play, definitely check that out. Run some community races as well, and definitely give the runners a follow. Glad to have them here and cheer them on as they go forward. Again, this is the Tournament of the Month, Pod 1.
Yeah, we're always looking for new people to come and join our community and get excited about the game. It's a lot of fun to play Worlds Collide. Even if you know very little about the base game, there's just so much joy and like that. I like those aha moments, you know, where like you're stuck on something for a while and then you're like, aha, if I do this, I will win. I love that sort of thing, and with Worlds Collide, there's no shortage of those types of moments. I get those all the time, and I've been playing for almost a year now, so just absolutely a phenomenal game, phenomenal community.
I agree wholeheartedly there, Gar. One of the most helpful communities that's out there. You can ask a question and have a whole bunch of people hop in and try to answer the said question. And I will say, Gar, oddly enough, I've seen a whole slew of fresh faces popping into Discord lately, which is great to see. So now is the time to get involved, friends, especially with Ultras League 4 right around the corner. And if you're thinking, well, I've never really played this and I'm not really a competitive person, well, it gets broken up into skill brackets. And you can start off in the Tonic League and work your way up from there. So definitely, if that's something that would interest you, highly recommend it that you check it out. I will say, Gar, we do have some questions about the permadeath that I mentioned earlier and what happens with that. So ins won't work, the buckets themselves won't work. There is one workaround, but I don't believe we're going to be seeing that used today. That involves a bit of a glitch with the Coliseum, where basically if you put someone in place, that they're able to, be revived, because basically as soon as you bring someone to a fight, they have full health for that fight, so you don't have to worry about healing them up every time beforehand. Nonetheless, we won't be seeing that abused today. If a person's dead, that's how it happens, but I believe there is a courtesy of a couple Phoenix Downs that were started off. That's like a little starter pack in your inventory. However, you will not be able to find any in any stores to buy at this point. Otherwise, what's the point of permadeath if you can have 99 Phoenix Downs stocked up?
Exactly, yeah. So we give our runners 5 Phoenix Downs just as a courtesy, because bad things do happen in this randomizer occasionally. Like the Schwantz, for example, trying to get into the Zone Eater belly, but had to wait forever for the Zone Eater to use the move Engulf. Now, one lesser known trick is that you can actually cast magic on the Zone Eater, and it has I believe it's 1 in 3 chance to counter with Engulf. So if you get stuck there for a while, like if he just wants to cast Demi over and over, try hitting him with magic. You might get in there a little bit faster.
Retro Guard, definitely one little small optimization is you'll see some people roll in there with almost a full party, and you gotta wait for every single one of them to get engulfed. If you go there with just one person, you just have to wait for that one to happen itself. So a small optimization actually can save a slew of time depending on how hungry the Zone Eater actually is.
So Falcon hit and 1 free Fitz at the Coliseum. Fitz leaving, Falcon hit, now also leaving, going and trading in those Mithril Blades for those Illuminas. And Mark, I am assuming that he is in World of Ruin World of Ruin Narsh, and getting some levels there. So, but this test rider is kind of getting into business.
Yeah, it looks like he, since I saw Condemn on lock, looks like he was trying to uncurse that shield. So I'm not sure what the number is on the curse shield at this point, but the way that works, friends, is the curse shield, if you are able to go through battles with it equipped, usually it inflicts a whole bunch of nasty status effects, including Condemned, and it makes you weak to everything overall. But if you're able to complete a certain set number of battles, that will turn into the extremely, extremely sought after and very, very powerful Paladin shield, which basically just eats all elements, and the majority of what you will face in the game, as with offensive and defensive magic goes, is magic is super powerful, and elemental is probably the highest damage things you're going to deal with for most bosses throughout. So if you get a Paladin shield, that's a great deal of safety. But we'll see a reset here from Mark, and they're going to try again, trying to get some of those fights underway here while we're in the World of Ruin Narsh. Now, I will say the spoiler log's got a lot of information, but I don't think it has all the individual packs listed here from what I'm seeing. So you don't know what's going to be as far as that you just know that random encounters are shuffled. You don't know where they are and what they're actually going to be.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't want to see that kind of information anyway. There's way too much, way too quickly. It would basically be impossible to completely absorb. So, Schwantz, Y removed into Mount Zozo, picked up his Gal on the cliff here, and I'm going to ask him about that because I think that's a very interesting play, given the seed that we got in front of us.
I mean, he's using that Y remove to get around that. Usually that's a cyan check. It requires actually going to buy the Rust Aid. But as we saw in Narsh, yeah, you can just go up, walk up the door, press Y, and that door is no more. You're able to just walk inside the apartment mountain and go find Gal. We'll see if other ones go that route. That does seem like an interesting play to me. I'm very curious if we grab Terra at some point, or even if you would need Terra, I think, because you can Y remove Dataluma on top of Zozo and get inside there, but without her in your party, you're not going to be able to do anything due to the gating that's there, unfortunately. But that's something I imagine we'll see. And also to avoid potentially increasing that boss counter as well.
So, you could get Terra, and it is a long check to get there. The thing is that you have to do the bulk of that check anyway, because if you don't, you're not going to get all the characters. And what I mean is, so Falcon Hit right now is in Magitech facility. At the end of this Magitech facility, he's going to pick up his Strago. At the end of the Burning House, he's going to pick up Realm. And in Esper Mountain, that's where Terra is hiding.
I kind of wonder if Falcon Hit might be going down that path potentially. I definitely saw Realm, and as affectionately referred to as Murder Child, is definitely someone good to have in the party, especially with magic power pluses on the table. I'm curious to see how that works out, but we're going to see him go down this path. I like this check. I like having this ability to go through that very densely populated 4 bosses, though, to get in and out all the way, but you potentially get some good magicite along the way and some characters too. Again, runners know all the rewards they're going to get. There should be no major surprises to them. Speaking of magicite, Fitz picking up off the Tritok Esper, getting Fenrir, and looks like Mark going to be trying to tangle with the dragon here at Narsh. And is this even randomized, folks? It's the Ice Dragon. And the Schwantz is off as well. So again, 4 completely different games being played here, all from the same get-go, all with the same amount of information handed out to them. So you love to see it there, Gar. This is what makes things very exciting.
Yeah, it's awesome. You see a Merton cast come out from Celeste there. Very cool, except that knocked over Locke. And his Phoenix Downs are looking a little slim. So Mark is going to have to be a little careful about that.
Yeah, this is definitely a bit of a marathon and less of a sprint. With this, I'm sure we'll see some very impressive times by the end of the evening here. But there is some care that has to go into this, especially with that permadeath on the table, and especially with those bosses looming. That you can't just go around just killing things willy-nilly at this point and hoping for the best, because otherwise you're going to start potentially inflicting your party with worse and worse status effects from the get-go. And they will stack. Just because you get one on your party at that point doesn't mean that if you unlock the next tier, oh, it's just that one you have to worry about. No, it compounds and just gets worse and worse and worse as you go. So, again, this flag set, the way that things are set up, it rewards proper planning, efficient execution, and being aware of that rather than just kind of like going, well, you know what, I'm just going to go and do the most dense checks possible and see what happens. And then you're left with an entire party that's auto-slept, condemned, mute, and just a whole other mess that you're going to have to deal with. Ribbons will prevent that, but I don't see those available anywhere in particular. Maybe some Coliseum work could happen with that, but I would say proper planning would be better than, a stopgap like the ribbon.
Yeah, the saying, an ounce of prevention, pound to cure, that sort of thing. So, very interesting. Falcon Hit opting to just straight up skip the Thunder Shield, which would be the reward from that second boss there. Just Y removed him and is going to go straight down the minecart. Hope you all like Mode 7.
Yeah, that's kind of nice, though. I mean, you're avoiding that additional boss tech for not that big of a reward and be able to progress further, though. So being very selective with what we're doing and having that Y remove in your back pocket. Game knowledge is definitely going to be rewarded here, especially with the random knowledge and working with it. And I got to say here, hands down here, Gar, that the 4 runners we have here, a great deal of knowledge and experience between all 4 of them. Very, very talented runners and very accomplished. So glad to have them here on Showcase here for us.
Yeah, absolutely. They're putting on a heck of a show, and they have always put on a heck of a show. So more than deserving of your follows. If you're not already following them, why aren't you following them?
Special thanks to the Schwantz, by the way, actually taking care of the cropping and getting everything set up. A lot of work happens behind the scenes to make this stuff happen, folks. So a big thanks to the Schwantz for getting things hooked up for us and being here. So not only did he do the cropping and get us all situated logistics-wise, he's running the race as well. So big thanks to him for pulling that extra shift.
And no question, the Schwantz 27 always a big fixture in our community, as is Saberwolf. Saberwolf does a lot of the community-oriented aspects of this, so making videos to be uploaded to the official Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide YouTube channel. Go and sub to that too, by the way. You'll see everything there, and if it's there, it's either because of Schwantz or it's because of Saberwolf. So I cannot shout them out enough. Thank you all so much for what you do.
Oh, here, check this out here, Gar. On Fitz, as we saw our first appearance of Goddess at this point. And something curious here I'm going to point out real fast. Does Fitz have... I don't know if Condemned got cast on Gogo or if Fitz has the Curse Shield on Gogo at this point. Because Gogo can't uncurse the shield. Gogo or Omaro can't at this point. So I didn't see if it got Condemned cast or what, but yeah, something curious here.
I think that's the Curse Shield. I think you're right. I think that he was trying to have Gogo decurse it, but for whatever reason, Gogo cannot. So, if it's a curse ring, it's equally baffling because Gogo can't learn magic. So I think that was a Paladin shield. So Fitz making a little oopsie there.
So, question in chat, was the rando changed to allow Gogo to uncurse the shield? The answer is no. You cannot uncurse the shield with Gogo in Worlds Collide. That was not changed. However, there is a slew of fixes that are in place, like the old cheese of Vanish Doom, the evade bug, things that you folks may be aware of from the vanilla game. Final Fantasy VI was a gloriously known to be well-coded game, without any faults. But no, we've cleaned those up at this point, and you can turn them back on if you want to in your own flag sets. It's very, very customizable, but for the sake of what we have here, no. Gogo cannot uncurse that shield, so I'm very, very curious to see how it works out. Unfortunately, Gogo taking a dirt nap here on Fitz's side, so that plan's not going to work out either, but that also calls into question something curious here, Gar, and maybe you can confirm this for me. That equipment that's on Gogo, you can't access his equipment when he's dead. However, there is an NPC on the airship that can unequip all party members that are not in the party. Will he pull equipment off of dead party members?
I would say that he probably has to, especially if Gogo, for example, has the Moogle Charm. He's going to have to unequip it. Or, I believe he still has Phoenix Sounds. He could pick him up whenever he wants to. But, because of the spoiler log, he knows where the characters are. So presumably, he can just go there and, you know, get more characters and just replace them all outright.
Well, there you go. Fitz picking up his Ragnarok, the stat stick, that is, at this point, not the Esper. So maybe that's why he made a beeline to grab Shadow to get that check, you know, looking to grab that Ragnarok Esper at this point. And speaking of Espers here, looks like Mark looking to do some handiwork and has quite a collection on his side. Already it looks like he's amassed about 5 of them from what I'm seeing at this point here. So we're going to update what we've got. Very, very nice. A lot of our runners are making a lot of quick progress and trying to keep tabs on all of them here. You'll probably see us kind of double checking and re-upping as we go throughout here. Gar and I are both handling some tracking here and trying to keep tabs on it. So big shout outs to the runners for running their own trackers and keeping us honest here. So you may see us randomly update that throughout the evening here. That would be the case. We don't have a dedicated tracker at this point. Just trying to provide as much entertainment as we can for you fine folks, and glad that all of you are here.
Yeah, thank you so much for your patience. It is very difficult to track a 4-person race. Heck, it's difficult to track a 2-person race sometimes. Ask any commentator, they'll tell you it's really easy to just get lost in the commentary, so...
Totally agreed. Yeah, I'm going through right now, just double checking our work to see if we're missing any and updating things accordingly at this point. But yeah, glad to be part of the commentary team here for Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. And if you want to get involved with the community, you also can. You know, we're definitely looking for folks to help out with us and get involved. It's a very open community and very, very willing to help out wherever needed. And also, if you'd like to help out and maybe do some tracking too, you can help us out too as well. Not too hard. Be able to hang out, gain some knowledge about it, and see wonderful races like this also. But nonetheless, back to the action here.
Yeah, so Falcon hit, going into the Burning House. Again, we know that Realm is here. Unfortunately, Burning House, not the fastest check. In fact, I would say it's many runners' least favorites, except for Fitz. Fitz really likes this for some reason. But not going to be terribly threatening. Who is at the end of this? I want to say it's some flavor of oh god, what is his name? Ultros. I could not think of it. Jesus.
How could you ever forget Uncle Alti?
I know, it's so bad. I want to say it's Ultros 2.
That sounds right.
I meant to write that down and did not. But anyway, our Realm will be there. Realm typically has a whole mess of magic power. It is not uncommon to see her, at least in Ultras League Flat Sex, it's not uncommon to see her with magic power in the 50s.
Now, I will comment, though, that in Ultros League, I believe the base range for stats is 80 to 120%. So you have a chance of getting above and beyond their usual starting stats. Yeah. The flag set we have here tonight is 80 to 100%. So basically, you're going to be getting a slightly nerfed, not too bad, slightly nerfed version, but you're not going to go above and beyond what they would normally have in the vanilla game at this point. So you'll see a slight reduction, but still, Murder Child definitely has, hence her namesake, definitely has the highest magic power in the game out of the gate, and will potentially put in a lot of work. Again, you can take care of Chatternook and take care of Goddess. You'll get a nice little boost there on top of it for everybody, and you'll be doing more damage across the board because magic in Final Fantasy VI is very, very broken.
Extremely powerful, yeah, absolutely. Mark, finding some level magics there on the minecart ride, not exactly what you want to see. They are very tough to kill. They don't reward any experience, and they have a ton of HP. So yeah, most people just run away, and in fact, that's exactly what it did. So these ghosts and popliums, also not really what you're looking for, but you can kill them and they drop experience, which is cool. And there you see the power of Merton. His party taking no damage, the enemy's taking just so much of it. And like I said at the start of this, I think that Merton's stats are going to be basically what everybody is going to go for, with a couple of exceptions for people who have Illuminas and whatnot.
I'm kind of wondering here at this point. I didn't see any. Now, as we commented about, I didn't see any free flame shields. Maybe one, maybe out in the wild somewhere. But mostly thunder shields. The way that Merton works, and some people may say, "What's a Merton?" Well, it's actually Meltdown is what it's supposed to be. But we only had 6 characters to work with, and Ted Woolsey was working on a pretty tight timeline when he translated this. But nevertheless, the way that works is super high fire and wind damage. And it's weird that you think like, okay, well there's 2 different damage types on it. The way that Final Fantasy VI works is if you negate one of them, you negate all of them. So you'll see that Thunder Shield, I believe, has some wind negation on it, something like that. You'll see 0.
That's right.
Yeah, that's correct. So it'll negate that out of the gate. Even if you're not actually taking out that fire damage in some way, you are negating that wind damage. So those Thunder Shields do come in handy with getting Merton online.
Falcon hit. It got his Realm. The Realm also has Magitech, which unfortunately, in this particular flag set, you only get the base level of Magitech. So that's the 3 elemental beams plus heal force. You can add an objective to your seeds to make it so that you can get the rest of it, the good stuff, like Tech Missile and Expert, all the ones that Terra has, like at the start of the vanilla game. You can add that to your seed too, as a quest reward, so very cool.
There you are there, Gar. And look at this. I'll actually comment about this. That Fitz I saw hop on the trolley here for the minecart. A little bit later than Mark, and they were both at the same tentacle fight at the same time. But Mark looks like the first one out, so we'll see what's at the end here for them. There's one more boss fight in the vanilla game. This would be the cranes that you would come into getting out, but Mark will get their final reward as they exit. We see a dragon fight on Chuance's side. I believe that is Phoenix Cave. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. And we see Falcon hit now in looks like Ebit Rock. Yeah, so the RNG cave. This one, some people like this check. I personally cannot stand it because of the RNG element of, everything.
Yeah.
You step on those switches, they don't really take you where you want to go. You need to get 22 pieces of coral from the random assortment of chests that are here. You'll see they'll give it a piece right there for Falcon hit, up to 5, and you got to just keep that mental count. And even if you're ready to go with those 22, there's no guarantee you're going to go see the chest right afterward, and you just kind of hope for the best. And sometimes you're hoping and hoping and hoping. Ellipses. Hoping.
Yep. I have been stuck in Ebit's Rock for 10 minutes before. Now, that's very unlikely, but it can happen. There is nothing that guarantees that you will ever see the hungry chest. So that's my biggest problem with this check, is that it's very, there's a ton of variance in the time that it can take. It's taken me as little as a minute and a half. The average, I would say, is about 3 to 4 minutes. And then, like I said, 10 minutes on the upper end. And you don't want to leave when you're already in there.
Jotting down a note on the side to post in feedback and suggestions to fix Ebit Rock. Just if the game knows that the bit is at 22 or higher, just let the next hop be the quantum leap home. Oh, and we have spicy chicken here, no less, there too. So beautiful to see our friend Poltergeist just kind of hanging out here. Oh, nice proc from that Illumina there too on that one. So shouldn't be too bad, especially if we're gearing up for those Merton strats. He's not going to be able to do too much. If we had stop available, that would be kind of nice. We'll see what he's going to do.
It's a little strange, I would say, to see him doing this fight. It is a lot of experience, and he should be able to get through it okay. However, it is entirely possible to get all of your requirements without ever going into Ebit Rock and fighting this Poltergeist. So I'm going to ask him about that too, because just in my preliminary routing of this, it didn't take me here at all. So I want to see what his thought process was there.
Once you see what we get through the fight here on that. And speaking of getting through the fight, Mark in Burning House with that Strago. And I think Fitz will be... Actually, Fitz is going Floating Continent, it looks like.
Not a bad play. It's got 3 espers in this go around, so certainly worth his time. These level magics once again rearing their ugly heads.
Man. Yeah, these forced encounters that you're going to run into then at this point, again, this is a bit of a blind spot here. So even with best laid plans, you can't really know everything, even with the spoiler log right in front of you at this point. So we saw them in the mine shaft. We saw them here. I bet they're hiding in the serpent trench too, for all we know.
Yeah.
And on the river, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. They're multiplying. And down goes the spicy chicken. If you had your emotes, please put them in the chat.
And the whole party's still intact. Realm's sitting pretty with 185 health there, no less. Should be some good experience across the board. Nice, easy in out on this one here. Getting that Magicite Shiva. Gonna be adding that to Falcon Hit's list at this point. So looking good, looking real good. And it looks like everyone dipping into the Magitech factory, like you said there, Gar, that I think that everyone's going to be funneled through it anyway. Schwantz going against Funbaba. And hopefully we'll be able to get through this fairly quickly and join everyone else who has grabbed their Strago at the end of this one.
Okay, so Fitz, I do believe, encountered a random Doom in the air. So...
yeah!
He has seen Goddess already, and now he has seen Doom. Will he go to Evet's Rock? I kind of doubt it. Oh wait, no. wait. No, this is not Search the Skies. I'm sorry. This is Floating Continent. You said this earlier. Holy moly.
That's correct.
It's been a long day.
That it has. Again, a little bit later than usual here on SpeedGaming 2, but we appreciate the accommodation and appreciate everyone here that are hanging out with us. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hello YouTube. Thanks for being here as well and checking out the action. Catch it live next time. We'll definitely be here. Oh, very, very nasty setup here. Retainers for Marshall. Look at this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
So retainers have a fun little thing called trade-off, which is a death counter, where they instant kill someone. And again, this is permadeath. So we'll see how that one turns out. I think there might be a way to negate that, possibly. I don't know. Oh, there's a trade-off and a good block from Shadow there. Very, very, very nice. Just stay calm and block.
Yeah, no worries. Now we'll see if he gets the block off on the second one.
2 for 2, look at that.
Shadow, the champion.
Now, he does have the mighty stat stick on that one. I think he's swinging Illumina at this point. Either Illumina or Rag. I mean, you're going to get some nice little bonuses from that defensive-wise. And we do have Terra on Falcon Hit's side. And I believe that is the character requirement has been met, 7-7.
Yeah, he's 7 of 7, so now he is on the hunt for Espers, and fortunately, there are plenty of them for him to find.
Normally, I would ask, going through this, a co-commentator, like, hey, where do you go next? Like, what do you do? But at this point, like, they have a plan. They have an idea of the things that they want to do. But again, there's just so much to consider. And Terra has a pretty wide berth of things that you can actually go to. She has some of the most diverse checks we can go to. Again, now that we have her, you can go to Zozo and get the reward there without even killing a boss if you really wanted to. But I'm not sure what's available there.
Yep, so Falcon Hit gonna be looting this cave, gonna be attempting to find that Minerva. EXP Ick is there. That's also a tremendous benefit to him, although it is somewhat late. You would like to see that earlier.
Actually, I stand corrected. Looking at the list here, it looks like that Sabin will be waiting at Zozo. And Rizapos is the Dataluma boss that's standing there presently at this point with Falcon and having his 7. I'm not sure if he'll actually go that route, but I think KT Skip is also available if you do some interesting routing choices.
That's right. The KT Skip for this one is you either get 2 additional characters or 2 additional Espers. Very interesting to think about since it effectively trims a boss out of your normal routing, but normally you've got to fight an additional 2 bosses in order to get there, so...
I will also note that something else that's kind of different about this seed versus the Ultras League seeds that we love so much is that the scaling looks like it does 2.5 times what we have based on characters and espers, and the max scaling level here, Gar, is 99. It doesn't have a hard cap at like 40 or 50 that you can potentially get a front of there. It will keep going, and also we do have objectives in place to tack on those additional levels if you fight too many bosses.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to be careful. That's for sure. It is very unlikely that any of our runners will ever actually see level 99 as the max scaling, but it is in theory on the
Just a little quirk I wanted to point out that I saw within the log itself. We see Senor Behemoth up on the floating continent for Fitz, and Falcon hit the first one to take their trip in and out of the sealed gate cave at this point. Ifrit and Shiva waiting in Narsh. Like that Mark is heading over that way to go grab the reward, and Schwantz working through the minecart at this point too.
So Falcon hit, going and grabbing all of the free progression stuff, getting his Ragnarok, the sword. And yeah, gonna head up the Narsh Cliffs here. Gonna take on the Welk check as well. And Schwant's dealing with some spaghetti in the mines.
Yep, so second to last fight to get out of the Magitech factory at this point. Falcon Hick going to do some shopping, maybe grab a couple of earrings possibly on sale here in Narsh. See what they get at this point. And Fitz on the escape, almost done with the floating continent.
Yep, that'll give him his 7th Esper. Still in need of 2 more characters. Has he done? Yeah, okay. So he did do Magitech already. So he just has to go and do Burning House. I'm kind of surprised that it took him this long to do it. Like I said earlier, it's his favorite check.
Also, I will comment that Strago taking a nap at this point did not make it through the floating continent, but potentially that might be okay on Fitz's side.
Fitz doing a slick move right there, deleting the last boss with the Y remove, and is still able to get the reward. So, and Schwantz picking up his old man.
You know, that's actually some great situational awareness, knowing that you have that in your pocket, knowing that you don't have to beat that boss to make that progression and get that check completed at this point. Why fight it? You know, why push that boss counter even further? So that's kind of nice to have that as a unique thing to keep in the back of your mind for routing this, is trying to be as efficient as possible, even with these multi-checks that are kind of deep and have different stages that you go through. Okay, looking back now, looks like Mark off and Zozo will be climbing up to grab Sabin at this point. So maybe he has routed in the skip possibly, or maybe he's looking for Sabin to replace a potential dead body. Right here is one of the best uses of the NPC remove. You don't have to wait in the conga line. You just delete them.
Oh yeah, and it's so satisfying to just get rid of all those thieves, ne'er-do-wells.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, the good upstanding citizens of Zozo.
yes, none of them ever lie, ever.
Nah, they only tell the truth.
Only, truly only. That's another thing I'm going to jot down for UL4. Please add NPC remove to the base flag set, but somehow figure out a way not to delete doors or bosses. Just get the annoying, get that returner out of the way, get that stupid kid and Zen out of the way, get just all the things we've been stuck behind.
And I'm actually kind of surprised that that's what goes on. When I first started playing with Y remove, it took me a long time to wrap my head around the idea that doors are actually NPCs and you can delete them just like anybody else.
Yeah, it's very easy to forget the fact at that point, like, oh yeah, I need certain things to do this to get by, but no, you can just delete the barrier that's in the way there and just kind of walk forward. So Fitz in the burning house, going to be going through to get Murder Child on that side. Mark leaving Zozo, all said and done. Falcon hit Kefka at Narsh at this point. And I believe that's one of the bosses we're going to need here. Watch this skip here from Falcon Hit. Runs right by. Beautifully executed. Very, very nice.
Very nice.
The way that one works, friends, is whenever the NPC bosses there are walking forward, if they're in between tiles, they won't actually trigger an encounter until they fully stop on the next tile. So you're able to just kind of squeak past them in passing and be able to get by no problem. And they will always follow the same path. There's no RNG there, so just comes on a great execution. And Falcon Hit definitely no stranger to great and clean execution.
Fitz wrapping up the burning house. That was very fast. I do believe that he got a couple of encounter skips there, which is possible with a little bit of skill and a little bit of luck all rolled into one.
Looks like Mark picking up Edgar here from another free check, the crumbling house in World of Ruin Zen at this point. So that was a Sabin check, so maybe that's why they went to Zozo. So their route here looking to be like, well, you know what? I can get 2 characters for 0 bosses if I just follow this route at this point. So very, very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely a very interesting route. Okay, so he's got 9 characters. I didn't see the 9th one. So Mark with his skip unlocked. You like to see it. He's still on the hunt for espers, unfortunately. But again, we know where they are. And I personally didn't route in a skip when I did like my initial thing here. I just did, get my requirements and go sort of thing. So Mark probably has a lot of cool tricks up his sleeve.
And one thing I want to note here, Falcon Hit doing it again here at this point, so maybe ran into a problem with the Cheddarnook fight here, so maybe took a death potentially in the demon phase. You'll notice that it has 2 different phases here. It's going to be flipping over. This is one thing that we did change in Worlds Collide at this point, is that there's something you'll have called More Demon, effectively, that if you remember from the vanilla fight, the girl will just kind of hang out here, charm some people. It just takes forever. It'll actually flip over to Demon much, much quicker. It'll flip back again and flip back again, but the only way to beat this boss is doing damage to the Demon, the fire one that you see here on your screen right now at this point. So, nice little quality of life change there. Definitely try to keep things nice, quick and brisk. And Swant's up against this very, very nasty. There's a trade-off. Locke getting tagged. Could not block it. No 2 blocks there for that one. Locke really could not block.
No block, Locke. And given that Locke has a pretty high base evasion plus an Illumina, that's pretty unlucky.
It definitely happens, but able to use one of those courtesy Phoenix Downs to keep chugging along here at this point. Both Shadow and Locke swinging and taking down the Marshal at this point, but definitely unfortunate to see that trade-off happen. Retainers are definitely pretty brutal to run up against with Marshal.
Yeah, absolutely not my favorite. So Falcon Hit picked up his Ragnarok Esper there. Very juicy. Just needs 2 more in order to unlock his Kefka's Tower.
Looks like Mark throwing out some meteors here against the Prometheus that's in the camp here. So pretty gnarly to deal with this one. Look at this wave cannon popping out and screen wrapping. I love that.
Oh, that's wild. I can safely say I've never seen that one before.
Yeah, there's some very interesting things that happen when abilities that get triggered that are potentially scaled or not part of the usual repertoire for something. But Setzer, the one hanging out here at the Imperial camp.
One free Fitz with the cool strats here. Popped Fenrir in order to dodge the trade-off. Try to shoot, did not work. The Marshal can be petrified, and it's vulnerable to instant death, so all of that stuff will work, but he is also vulnerable to taking a whole lot of damage, so no worries.
I really like that heads-up play right there, using your summons to their best ability. Usually a lot of the the muscle memory or the way that we look at things is, okay, I'm preparing for the final climb. That's when I'm going to use my summons to the best of my ability. But using it in a fight like this, in this situation, for that protection in a permadeath situation, you got to hand it the fits there for that awareness and equipping it and having that available and doing that. Knowing that Retainer has that trade-off ability in the first place. Again, knowledge is very much rewarded in this, and I will tell you this hands down, and I think you'll agree with me here, Gar. Every seed you play will teach you something new.
100%.
Sometimes through your own poor planning or ineptitude of things not to do, along with things that you should be doing. And definitely a great game to definitely feel like you're learning and growing and progressing. And you definitely can start adding on that knowledge, especially into interesting flag sets such as this.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I would say for players that are maybe newer to Worlds Collide or newer to like speedrunning in general, and that is you're going to fail a lot, and it is very easy to be discouraged at failures, but if you stick with it, if you learn from your mistakes and you don't repeat them, you'll find that there is you'll get better and better and better, literally every single season, and you can see it. That, I think, is very inspiring. When I first started, I was forfeiting almost every single seed, and I learned and I got better, and I don't know, it's a process. It takes time, but stick with it. It's a lot of fun.
Completely agree, and well said there, Gar. Yeah, and also I've watched you race to this point. I mean, you're definitely up there. You're definitely keeping pace with some of the best, hands down. So you definitely have picked it up, and it's not impossible. It seems like quite the mountain to climb, and definitely it is at the base. There's a lot to pick apart in this one. But that's what makes this so rewarding, is that difficulty and being able to put those pieces together. And it's something that you won't master, within 3 seeds and be like, you know what, I think I fully understand this. I've attained everything I need to do. That's why people have literally played this randomizer for years at this point. We keep coming back, and the community keeps growing because of how engaging it actually is. So if you haven't tried it, definitely sit down and give it a try. And you don't have to do crazy seeds like this out of the gate. There are definitely some easier things to do. Again, the Ultros League that we do mention, that's kind of the base flag set. Super well balanced, very, very fun and accessible to get into. Definitely gives you a nice taste of what's out there. And very curious, Gar, that there's been no specific words yet about this, but I'm curious to know if there will be any base changes to that Ultros League flag set for Ultros League 4. We'll just have to wait and see, and we'll see what that gets announced out on Discord.
As somebody with a tiny bit of insider information, I can safely promise that no, there are no changes planned. Nothing major anyway. There might be one that we're talking about including, but it's basically a slight buff to the Coliseum. So, but nothing is set in stone yet. So please wait until further public announcements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let the wild speculation begin. Anyway, asterisk on that one. Not official until announced at this point. But still, appreciate that Gar. For those that tuned in or decided to watch this one on YouTube, keep that one in your back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, speaking of back pocket, we have a beautiful auction going on here in Mark. We're seeing that Kappa up there, that imp. How about it? I'm sure he wants to buy that.
Oh, I mean, I want to buy an imp robot. Unfortunately, I don't think I have quite enough money in order to do that.
I love this. Mark and Falcon Hit both just high-fiving at the auction together, like they're both bidding at the same time. And how about an airship model on Falcon Hit's side? How about that?
Now that's a rare one. That one you don't see very often.
Look at this Ifrit throwing out Flare Star up here. Hopefully we have protected single target on that 1.2k on Gao. Gao, however, getting enough able to tank that one out for Schwantz, doing some big damage, taking it down there pretty quickly. So good to survive that one. And Mark getting lucky now. Magicite getting thrown out. You'd love to see it.
Fitz taking on his spicy chicken. And Retro, please keep this 1200 model airship a secret from Mama.
Yeah, Umaro would be very sad at this point. I think we'd probably get crushed, sadly.
Yeah, probably. So Falcon Hit, unfortunately, I don't believe saved before he came in, so had to sit through that cutscene. It is actually faster to reset out of it.
It's a shame, but hey, I mean, that's you play the auction game, and sometimes it works out. You walk in there, glowing stones available, you sit down once, and boom, there it is. But other times, you do there a couple times. Mark running outside and saving, and going to be doing it again, and another airship for Falcon Hit, back to back, and another Kappa for Mark. Oh my goodness gracious! So, welcome to the reset auction, folks. This is where we're at for this one. Pointing our attention up top, Fitz taking on Spicy Chicken, and Schwantz getting their safety saves in as they take flight on to their next check at this point. So curious to see how that one works out. But it looks like Falcon Hit. You know what? I respect this play, Gar. I think that auction is a good move. You're not increasing that boss counter, and you're getting progression. And I believe there are two different. There are two different matches set available. That's why we saw Mark double dip here, looking to play the odds. Falcon Hit and Mark getting their second at this point. It looks like, and Falcon Hit finally getting lucky on their side too. So getting that progression. Trying to get the last piece. I think this actually is the last piece that Falcon Hit potentially needs to unlock Final Kefka, maybe?
That is indeed, yeah. He has it unlocked, so I wholly expect him to just head over there right now. There's nothing left for him to do.
This indeed is a race, and it's not like you're going to go boss hunting at this point, trying to keep that as low as possible. So yes, Falcon Hit in under an hour in KT 710.
So I do want to point out too that Schwantz is also ready to go into Kefka's tower, and he has a skip available. So gonna take a quick detour to knock out this dragon, and then he's gonna be pretty ahead of Falcon Hit.
Another quick free check there. Mark getting their final Kefka stamp at the 57-minute mark, going to the Kalinjian Cafe. And that is a Setzer check. And remember, they routed in that Imperial camp. They were fighting against that Prometheus there for a little while. Some unique choices we've seen across the board here, Guard. Definitely not a straightforward path for our four runners.
No, not at all. They did not run this in the ways that I expected, which is very cool, I would say. It's nice when there's a lot of divergence in a seed. But here we are at the end, and all roads lead to Kefka's Tower. So just a matter of where on that road you get on. And Mark heading up. Gonna be first one doing the statues. So gonna be gonna have a pretty hefty lead over Falcon Hit. Although Falcon Hit can very easily make that up.
Interesting how that worked out then too, but yeah, Falcon Hit obviously chugging through here very quick. I will comment about this. I've watched Falcon Hit a couple of times. One thing that really impresses me is their movement. That they very, very rarely bonk when they're going through. And what I mean by that is getting stuck on a wall or something like that. They know exactly how far they need to walk. And their movement, especially in KT. KT is very, very strange, and there's some weird jaggy sections that you have to kind of go through. Their movement is very crisp and clean. So if they're going to lose time, they don't lose time in areas that they have 100% control. That they're able to get through fights fairly quickly. The planning is good. Their menus are crisp. Like that to me that's probably some of the hardest stuff to actually learn is just the execution side of things, rather than just some of the knowledge that you can learn. Putting that into place and being able to execute on top of it for the hour plus that the seed will be is definitely impressive. So something to keep in mind of watching a runner. You can see exactly how well they navigate a dungeon in an area. They have that mental map. They know exactly what inputs to do. That is a mark of a quality runner in this game, hands down.
Yeah, map knowledge, something not very often talked about, and also something that you'll tend to pick up if you run a whole bunch of seeds. So if you're interested in running a bunch of seeds, why don't you head over to ff6worldscollide.com and start rolling your own. It's also got a link to our Discord there. You could join the community and hang out with fine folks like our runners here and Retro, and I'm going to say me too. I think I'm a pretty cool guy, you know?
I will agree. I'll vouch for that for both things, yes.
Woohoo, validated. But seriously, no, come join our community. We love having new people. We are always immensely grateful to see when people are interested in our community, and we're always very happy to help because, again, there is a lot to this game to learn, and if I didn't have the help that I got whenever I first started learning, I would be not as good as I am. So please join and please ask for help. You will always get a response, and you'll usually get it within about 10 minutes. So
now something interesting here to look at: Doomgaze versus Celis, the 1v1 here in Kefka Tower at this point. So we'll see how this one pans out. Oh, Celis at a 131 health. My goodness.
Firing off that quick.
Yeah, quick is real good here. So quick is you get 2 actions and literally stops the ATB gauge for everything and everyone besides the character themselves. They can get 2 actions off. And I think he's just going to pop off with 2 Mertens there for quad 9s. Is it enough? Or we're going to drop an elixir here. So Merton and yeah, okay. I like that play. Both hurt and heal while you're at it at that point. So hoping for the best from Doomgaze. Doomgaze ATB back up and running. Going to throw out that Ice 3 for Mark at this point. And look at this. Falcon hit going onto the switches there. So like you said, catching right up. And I think Doomgaze is at that Guardian position at this point. And we got Fitz and KT going against Umaro. And we have the Schwants also going against Doom. I'm looking around here. We're all in here. Look at this. How all the roads have converged, Gar.
Yeah, isn't that neat? And like this is just what happens whenever you play Worlds Collide. When you're as good of a runner as these runners are, this is what you get. You get a KT where people are, maybe a minute or so away from each other. That's really cool.
This is incredible. I'm very curious to see how this is going to wrap up here at this point. It is literally anybody's race at this point.
Oh, wow. Dueling crack pals. Fitz taking down the Yeti, and Mark taking down the Doomgaze. Very cool.
This is awesome. I'm sitting back here, like I know I have to commentate, but like I'm getting hype as a viewer just watching this at this point. So this is great. This is really great. We got Vargas here at this point at a statue spot, and trying to push their way through. It looks like Mark will be getting there momentarily as well, and Fitz is going to be heading up there too. Looks like, so it shouldn't be too bad. Unfortunately, Fitz right now probably the first one going to be taking that dragon encounter here too, no less.
Very interesting. So, I wonder what this gold dragon has, or I wonder if Fitz just isn't comfortable with his levels and says, maybe I need a couple of more.
Okay, once again we're here on Mark's side. Looks like Doomfist got procced. 14 seconds left, 13 on ticking away, trying to chip down Vargas. Vargas this late actually can throw a wrench in the works, and the Bears hit pretty hard.
Yeah. Oh, and worth noting too that timer continues to count down even during quick turns. You saw Celeste cast quick. So Celeste gonna be able to get off just one more Merton after this, and it's not gonna matter.
Clutching it out.
Very nice.
Very exciting. My goodness gracious. So that very scary there. And I was thinking that too. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, Quick's popping off at this point. Countdown's gonna stop. No, apparently the march to death when Condemned is out cannot be halted no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Atma Weapon was the reward for that dragon there. We got Air Force. This is a pretty nasty KT, if I'm being honest here. Some pretty gnarly stuff sitting here.
Yeah, Air Force very fragile. Doesn't have a whole lot of HP, but there's 3 enemies there, and all of them can cast some real nasty stuff.
Oh, talking of nasty stuff, look at Falcon hit right now. Apparently got tagged. I don't know if it forgot to put a Moogle Charm on or what. Just a small misstep there, getting stuck in a pincer and then double muddled right away.
Yeah, the Enoch is one of the scariest encounters that you can ever find because of that multi-target muddle, or excuse me, because of the muddle, because of the freeze that it can do if you leave it there long enough. It's just very, very nasty to deal with. So taking the reset there, figured out that he just wasn't going to get out of that.
Was this the frustration is going to take a fight here? Okay, so taking a fight here when looking at Guardian for a second. There's the Inox again. So maybe potentially looking to learn some spells possibly before this fight. I'm not exactly sure what's happening here on this side here. Ooh, Shrapnel coming out again. Wow, Realm holding on Mark's side there. Realm throwing out Merton. And going to tear down a bunch, but also a nice little hurt and heal setup there. So Mark has some fire absorption. So Merton then turns into not only one of the best damaging spells in the game, but one of the best, if not the best, healing spell on top of everything else. And for an experienced player, will say that truly this is a much better spell than Ultima for that very reason, barring, non-elemental being a nice thing. But nonetheless, Mark using Merton to its full effect there, and very, very nicely done. Falcon hit going up against Doomgaze, and we have the Schwantz, the first one to start the final climb. Look at this.
Yeah, so Ficta in chat pointing out that that realm was level 35, so would have immediately died to level 5 Doom, which Doomgaze will always open with. So very wisely taking a fight there to avoid that happening.
Yeah, right you are. That good observation there. So that would make a lot of sense. If you played Worlds Collide long enough, even when you don't know or do know, sometimes you'll run into Doomgaze and you'll get the entire party wiped by that that level 5. Everyone's all hooked up on the same thing. Everyone's level 20, and they all drop at once. And well, just go get a couple of levels, and you're good to go at that point. But Doomgaze going down quickly. Realm just nuking the entire thing. And speaking of going down quickly there, the Schwantz taking care of Tier 1, moving on to Tier 2 here. Just shy of 107 on the timer at this point, so beautifully done. Mark also going to be going into the final climb now, second one to stand on all of the switches. So Falcon had a little misstep there that happened and had to get through it. Just a rough luck with the Enoch fight and had to take the reset there. But pushing through on to Vargas.
Yeah, not going to have any issues with this Vargas. Mark on the switches about 106.50 something. Also, I do want to point out that Overswarm, who is not currently being restreamed, is also racing this. He's also in Pod 1 for this tournament of the month, and he is currently on Tier 2, along with the Schwantz 27. So, very close race that we've got here.
Oh, how about it? Shoutouts to Overswarm there. Someone that has recently joined the community and just went basically full ham, for lack of better terms here, into learning.
Very good, very quick. So
yes, absolutely. Very skilled runner of many, many games, hands down, and very quick to learn games. So that doesn't surprise me. Final Fantasy VI, I believe, is one of, if not his favorite. So no surprise that he picked this one up very quickly. But we'll see what happens when we have those final times here. Tier 1 starting for Mark, Tier 2 for Schwantz. Looking to use, I didn't see exactly what procced out or what was out there, but you definitely want to have mute for this. I guess I should say that there are a lot of moving parts for this final climb if this is something that you guys are potentially new to. 4 tiers of fights to go through, effectively 10 bosses to dig into, all with their own.
Took a wipe there.
Wow, yeah, look at this.
Was that Leader? With just the big axes coming in?
It's possible. I mean, this late in the game, I mean, if he swings like that, he's going to be doing quad digits.
Yeah, Leader is something of a meme in the Worlds Collide community, because normally he's pretty weak, but late game, Axe is like a huge multiplier on his base damage. So, and Mark taking a reset. No, he's going to have to start
over. And I gotta say, Fitz has a long walk to go here based on where he loaded from. So very, very difficult luck at this point.
Yeah, Schwantz climbing up to Tier 3.
So this is usually the big stress point. I mean, the whole thing is stressful when you're getting in there. Dancing Mad kicks in, you know, your heart rate goes up, and you're ready. Like it never goes away. No matter how many times you come into this, no matter how prepared you feel, it's always that adrenaline moment of getting here. But tier 3, you want to take care of Lady or Girl in the back there, as she has exactly 9999 HP. Will absorb all magic at this point, and then the big problem here, rest or sleep in the front there. Basically, you want to do, I think, 40,000 damage at this point, but you want to avoid calmness, and it looks like that Fenrir's coming out there. That's the Schwantz right there, using the knowledge that they have to block that. Calmness is a instant kill ability that is a death counter that he can use up to 2 times, 1 or 2 times when he dies. So if you kill someone here, they're not going on to Final Kefka at this point, but it is a physical attack. So just like we saw earlier with Fitz using Fenrir to their ability to block the trade-off, same exact concept, blocking the calmness, just avoiding it outright by having that image cast using Fenrir. So some nice damage here. Here comes the calmness, will not tag anybody. And Schwantz moving on to Final Kefka. Plenty of damage in the pocket. It looks like they potentially could get a very, very nice time. And I'm curious to see how things will work out with OS.
Oh, Overswarm. Still on tier 3. Schwantz took him over.
Oh, man. we'll see how it pans out at this point. And
there's the comments on Overswarm screen, so he's maybe 20 seconds behind. What a race.
Yeah, this could go either direction at this point. Just fighting for their lives here for the tournament here out of the gate. So we have Mark on tier 1. Fitz trying to work their way back, but I'm going to point this out. Falcon Hit now starting on tier 1. So was able to catch up after that reset there. So potentially looking for a podium spot with the Schwantz and OS, depending on how things turn out here with the final bits of it. So, but Final Kefka on the screen here for Schwantz. That Fallen One's going to pop out. I'm not sure if we have a Mega Elixir in tow, but we should have some nice healing abilities, especially with those magic boosts at this point. And Murton, if you have a nice little setup here to get healed, we'll see how this one goes. I see 1 green number, so only 1 is going to be gaining that, and that is Celis, and that's okay. That might be enough. Here's Fallen 1.
Now, you do have to be careful in this fight. Once you get Kefka below 10,000 HP, he can start countering things with Ultima. Ultima would not kill Gao. Hyperdrive, comes very close.
What a beefy boy, freaking taking a hyperdrive to the face and just shrugging it off.
Yeah, that does not happen very often. There's another hyperdrive, very rude at these counters.
Yeah, Shadow having 1 HP, not gonna, be able to shrug that one off as much. Unfortunately, before Gao has a chance to get a heal off, no less. So Shadow gonna be taking a bit of a nap, but had some courtesy from that Phoenix down there. Tier 2 for Falcon Hit, and also Mark. So Falcon Hit is in front of Mark, but they're in lockstep at this point.
Just lockstep. So Schwantz and Overswarm, who is not being streamed, very, very close to each other, and Falcon Hit and Mark, very, very close. Man, this is such a great race to watch.
Yeah, very good. So Murton coming out once again. Very good damage here, 9.7k. So I believe that Kefka has what 65k HP to get through. He's currently charging up Goner at this point, so this is when you want to go complete all in, and that might be Crack Boom, and that's done. Schwantz, Crack Boom about 113.
Phenomenal race there by these Schwantz, 27, finishing in first place with a time of 1:13.04.
We see Fitz up against Doomgaze at this point. Tier 2 now, all focus on Falcon Hit and Mark. Let's see how that goes. And any word on OS at this point, Gar?
Oh no, it looks like he took a wipe.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh
hey,
my goodness.
We are joined by the Schwantz 27. Congratulations on your win, sir. How do you feel?
Yeah. Yo, I am very surprised that I won, but I guess my strategy was the best strategy. I planned out the best, so that's good for me, I guess.
It's been a wild ride.
It was a heck of a ride, and there was divergence basically immediately for all 4 of you, or I guess all 5 of you. I didn't get to watch a whole lot of Oversworn, but
Yeah, he literally just he just finished 113. Oh no, he didn't finish. I'm sorry. Never mind. I was spilling the beans. That was my time. Yeah, I saw Falcon Hit typing in the chat, and then I saw Overswarm typing in the chat, and I'm like, well, this is at least a close race.
Yeah, no, that's what we were just talking about. Like just how close it was, and basically throughout the whole seed, everybody was sort of neck and neck, and it was very difficult to see like who was actually in first.
Yeah. That is how Worlds Collide goes. So, yeah, for these type of races, I like to see who my starting characters are, and then I look at those starting characters as checks and see kind of what the seed is supposed to branch out to, right? To see how I can get to 7 and 10 the fastest. And in this particular seed, I did that, and I even factored in all the places you can get to with YNPC removed. And we were still required to go all the way through the Magitech Factory and then go through Burning House.
Burning House, yep.
So Fitz must have been happy about that because I know he loves Burning House. But
we saw everyone follow that logic as well, so it was very, very interesting to see kind of everyone do that, but at different times, no less. But there was a great convergence toward the end where basically everyone was getting into KT right around the same time.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. So for my particular route, I sort of planned it around the fact that I know that I had to fight 5 bosses, and in this particular flag set, the more bosses you kill, the worse the penalties go. So I tried to stick to checks that did not have bosses on it to fill out the rest of my requirements, and thankfully the Tzenthi Vesper was 59 GP. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah.
No, wow, that's incredible.
That's one of the lowest I've ever seen.
it was cheap in both worlds. 87.64 in the world of balance and 59 in the world 59. Of ruin. So
I've never seen double digits ever.
I've seen it like once, I think. It's just because it can go from 1 to 65,535, you know, normally you expect it to be somewhere
on the higher end of things. Yeah.
It always is. It's always like 60K plus, I swear.
So my strategy was, I saw that you could flip crystal orbs for experience eggs in the Coliseum. So I checked to see if there were shops that were selling them, and lo and behold, there was. So my initial thought was get to that as soon as I possibly can. So that's why I did the grind fights in the basement to get a couple of levels, so my Coliseum fight would be pretty quick. And then from there, I wasn't sure if I was going to be under-leveled going into KT, because I didn't fight a lot of bosses in this seed. I fought too many dragons, I thought. But I had to learn Mute for Tier 2 on one of my characters. So that was a last-minute change to my routing, was to throw a dragon in at the end. But that was sort of the strategy, was get to the experience eggs as soon as you possibly could, and hopefully you don't need that many levels. And going through the Serpent Trench is great because there's no boss and you could grind. Burning House is also good for that too, I guess, right? Even though there is a boss at the end, you could still grind. So that was sort of how I planned my route. I'm curious to see what some of the other runners did with their particular route, because I see different parties here. The only reason why I kept Gao in my party is because he naturally learned Doom, and that was the only instant death spell that I could easily see in the seed. So I'm curious to see what other people did as well.
Was there not like a cursed ring or anything like that you could find?
There might have been, but I didn't think about it. I was just looking at spells that the Espers taught.
So you mentioned a little bit ago that you basically just you go hard for experience eggs basically as quickly as possible. Is that something that you would recommend to anybody who's looking at running like a planned OC like this?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. It allows you to, levels are the best thing in Worlds Collide. Better than stats, better than your equipment, right? Being over-leveled helps out a lot in a lot of cases. So that's sort of, it's not like necessarily a silver bullet, but it pretty much helps in all cases to have more levels. That's never a bad thing. So that's why, whenever I do these, I always check the spoiler log. Where are my experience eggs going to be? and how do I get to them immediately? And luckily, in this case, we were able to. There was another Plando practice seed I ran where I couldn't get to the experience eggs because they were in the items that I had to flip for it weren't available in the seed, and the only one was in a treasure chest that's locked behind a character, right? So then the thinking process is, okay, how do I get to that character as soon as I possibly can, you know? So.
Exactly, yeah.
So sorry to cut you off here, gentlemen, but the Falcon hit, getting crack boom then. The Clown is dead at 119.19 from what it's showing here. So Falcon hit taking second place on stream here. We have a check on OS there, Gar. Where do we stand?
OS looks like he has climbed back up. He is at tier 3.
Looks like he'll be just behind Mark then at this point. Fitz still trying to fight their way back into the climb as we see Mark walking into the clouds at this point against Falcon
I'm going to do something
Kefka.
crazy. I'm going to try and punch him in here.
Oh, yeah.
That might be... The cropping might be all off, but let's try it.
It was the words that can happen.
Yeah, we commented about you handling the cropping right before this. So look at you setting us up, getting us off and going, racing, and then winning the dang thing. So the Schwantz truly can do it all.
More. Yeah. I said before that I didn't say that he's a linchpin, but Schwantz is a linchpin of our community. So and stuff like this is exactly why.
Yeah, and there he is.
There he is. Yeah. See.
On tier 3.
And there's Fitz stepping on the switches, so we're eyeballing probably like a 120, 127, 128 maybe. He's got pretty good offense, like all of our runners did, and
right.
I mean, heck, when you can do a Plando, it's hard not to get the good offense unless your seed is literally just bone dry.
Yeah, I've played a couple of the other pods, and one of them in particular was not great for offense. We're having to rely on fixed dice, which I absolutely loathe having to rely on for offense in a planned seed, but
Yeah.
It is what it is sometimes. So, but yeah, the other weird thing about doing a planned run is trying to make sure you learn the spells that are on the good espers that you go and find. So that's definitely something I had to adjust to on the fly, like I said, when I took the last dragon. And I even switched my route in the middle because I was originally supposed to go to Barren Falls to get my last esper, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's in the weapon house. Is there anything I need on this esper from Barren Falls? No? Okay, go to the weapon house and get the Genji armor, because I had no armor for Shadow at that point either. So it's just interesting the way things go sometimes, but yeah, it'll be interesting to watch this back. Thank you, Gar and Retro, for doing the commentary and the tracking. Thank you to SpeedGaming for hosting us on our weekly slot as always. A little bit later than usual, but hey, we got it done for this great race. So thank you guys again. You got any other questions for me? And I'll turn it over to Falcon Hit.
I don't think so. I just want to say congratulations again. Thanks for putting on a great race, and congrats on your first place finish.
Woohoo! I finally get to go to the finals in one of these things. I'm happy about that.
Nicely done, GG. Well deserved.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks again.
Take care, Schwantz.
Bye-bye.
All right, and joined in the booth here. Welcome in, Falcon Hit, clutching out a second position after a pretty wild ride there. Welcome in, Falcon. How are you doing?
Good. I'm a little bit confused about where I lost time, because I felt like it went kind of well, but
I mean, that auction house took kind of forever. Those two airships, though, how about it?
yeah, I didn't know that the airships were mixed in. Otherwise, I would have left and saved that for the 50k, because it's actually long. It actually saves time to save outside and then come back in if you get one airship. That airship is actually longer than an improv bot, because there's an extra dialogue box where it asks you for more money.
Oh, of course.
And I'm just like, I didn't know that this was a thing. Because then the last one, I didn't go to the auction, right? Because that one you had a lot of options, but this one you were kind of restricted.
Yeah, we had, oddly enough, Gar had comments like, oh, there's one you don't see every day, and you get two of them back to back, and he basically said verbatim the exact same thing you just said about, saving seems to be the faster way of resetting and all that, but yeah, honestly, that may have been the only time sink that really we had noticed, and also it looks like you had some difficulty there with Doomgaze and having to level up Realm astute
Yeah.
observers in chat saw it was 35 that she was sitting at. I didn't realize what was going on there. You got stuck with the Enoch pincer attack and everything else. But hey, aside that, Mark taking care of the clown going down. 123.46 was showing on that one. So GG for Mark there, rounding out the podium.
So, I was going to ask you why you went to Ebbets Rock when the auction house had 2 espers, but since you can get the airship now, I wonder if the choker was also in there, or is that only World of Balance?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember. But yeah, was it just like it is like even if you have to fight poltergeist, like is it just faster to get that, you think, or just sit in the auction house for a while until you get both of them?
It all depends on your luck, right? Sometimes you're lucky and you get it back to back, and sometimes you have 10 straight, and then you're just like wondering why you're here, and then you throw like a sub 105, which I had like in the bag, and then I went to auction house and I sat there for like 10 minutes, and I was like, oh, this is such a shame. It's up there with the one where I was like, oh man, if there's a Magic Master at Inferno spot, this is like done. And then I could have like done the safety strat, and then it was there, and I was just like, oh, I just called it. Anyways, it was a fantastic time. I didn't know that the Inox were exactly at that spot. That is very unfortunate. I knew they were in the tower, but I didn't know they were like right there. I don't know. When I saw them, I was like, oh no, not like this.
Sorry to interrupt here, but OS, Crack Boom, KT, or Final Kefka is finally done at around the late 125 mark, it looks like at this point here, but OS taking care of that, and all that we have left to finish up here is Fitz on Tier 2. We'll continue on, but Falcon hit, seriously though, just GG across the board. I was actually talking about... I very much like watching your movement and how you handle just menu usage overall. Very, very clean throughout. And aside from just planning, I have to ask you though, Falcon Hit, like, what is your experience with routing and planning and plandos and all that stuff? Like, is this something that you only do so often, or is this something you feel very comfortable with? I'm just curious.
I only do them so often. Like, I've done them before because there was an async before that ran that was Blame the Bot, and occasionally you would get spoiler log races in that. I remember a very notable one was. It was a very difficult seed, but you knew where everything was, right? So you just kind of had to go, you get your... It was like something insane, like 4x level and 1x experience, or like half experience. So, yeah, but the only spoiler log races that I would do would be those ones. So this is a very nice change of pace.
Very cool.
So a couple of the runners actually went for the skip, and it looked like you could pretty easily get another couple of characters to make that happen. Did that ever cross your mind, or were you just let me just get my requirements and dive the tower?
I didn't really think about that because how easy would it have been? I would have had to gone up Zozo, right? What is the fastest?
Yeah, so let's see.
It would probably be like
move into Zozo and get the gal there, and then
remove into
no.
So there was also.
I have my notes. I can see it. It's Zozo for Sabin, but this is like well
that too.
Yeah, and Mobliz is Mog. So you'd have to wire remove Gao to get into Gao, and then also do Zozo or Mobliz. Mobliz was really easy though. It was the Rizzopass, I think.
Yeah, well, it would have been the Funbaba too. So like I guess the risk there is that it's 2 bosses rolled into 1 check, which is kind of rude, but.
Yeah, that's always the. Oh, I guess you can wire remove. You can wire remove the Zozo boss to get to Sabin, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could just wire remove the entire way up there, which is neat. It takes maybe a minute or so.
Yeah, that would have been much faster. For sure. You can also get the Edgar from Collapsing House, which I was like, my initial plan had that there, but then I was like, wait, I'm getting like 12 characters.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm just not gonna get it. I probably should have done it, but I didn't really think about it.
Well, nonetheless, I think overall, Falcon, I think it went very well, barring just some small things that you kind of dug into. But clearly, I mean, you had a chance to dig into the log and came up with a pretty decent plan, just some small things. But I commented to Gar that just even when you have all the information, like you're not going to solve a seed, just by staring at a spoiler log and putting something on paper, because you don't know all the variables there. You don't know what the random encounters are going to be. Just like we saw where you got kind of tagged with Enoch there for a little while in KT. In that strange situation that you were sitting there with a level 35 realm and you wanted to keep her happy and healthy at that point. But overall, Falcon Hit, just kind of like looking back at it, just any final or passing thoughts here about it looking back?
Well, let me think for a second. I remember writing my notes. Gal's Father House 7 out of 6 with a question mark because it
could either be a sword.
It could be a sword or the expert, right? So I was like, oh, I don't really know. So I was like, get Gao's Father House and then go to maybe KNN because they both have Ragnarok, and then one of them has to be the Ragnarok, right?
Yeah. It's kind of rude, I think, that the spoiler log doesn't differentiate it.
Yeah, but that's half the fun of it, right?
Oh, it is also fun. It's rude fun, you know.
Yep.
Well, that's all I've got for you. Retro, do you have anything else for Falcon here?
No, nothing else here. I'm just watching Fitz here work through tier 3 at this point. Stella's sitting there with 63 health and muted at this point, but putting up calmness protection, so Fitz hopefully could be stamping their ticket to Final Kefka at this point. But GG's across the board here, Falcon Hit. Thank you so much for participating. Sorry you got stuck in the auction house there for a little while. You can collect your airship as a parting gift on the way out.
I don't even get the airship. That dude bet 10 million gil.
Keep it a secret from Mama.
GG's.
Yeah, GG's. Thank you so much,
Have a good
Falcon.
evening.
All right, friends. So left here we have Fitz is our last one here, last but not least by any means here. Just a rough go of it. Fenrir up. We got that protection. Using that
Heal Force. Let's go.
Yeah, here we go. So girl's still alive though at this point, just looking to chip them down as best as possible, and hoping for no procs.
Yeah, I think that Fitz got a proc early on, and that kind of just nullified any damage that it did to girl, which is always unfortunate.
Yeah, you had mentioned something rude earlier. That is one of the most rude things overall. You have this amazing weapon that one step forward, 2 steps back instantly on that one, so not good.
Oh yeah, and it's especially rude too if you go for the seed and you just don't see any procs, and then all of a sudden when you don't want it to proc, it's every single time.
I like this play here of abusing Quick because Sleep, when he gets down to his final 10k health, if you do 30,000 points of damage, he can start countering with Meteo and Train and other nasty stuff, but with having his ATB frozen, he won't counter during that time, so you can kind of reduce some of the risk there of dealing with it, but trying his best to get the damage down. Here comes Train.
And nobody likes Train. Neither the band nor the...
I was about to say, Gar.
And I'm sorry if you're a Train fan. It's not personal, but I have heard them in concert, and they're not good.
Oh, speaking about not good, Meteo coming out anyway, even with all of that happening at this point. But Locke and Celis holding on. Here comes the calmness.
Okay, so no problems for Fitz there.
Yeah, good thing he had the image up there from Fenrir, because that was a double calmness that came out at that point, lobbed right at Locke and Shadow. Final Kefka coming up here for Fitz. We'll see how things go with that one at this point to close this one out and bring us home. While we have a second here, friends, ff6worldscollide.com. Please join the Discord. Please join us here. Special thanks to SpeedGaming. Much appreciated to have us here every Wednesday. We have a time slot here, usually 8 o'clock or so, 8, 9 o'clock, but tonight was a special case. Definitely check the schedule. Definitely give SpeedGaming a follow. Follow the runners, please. All 5 of them. You're putting on a heck of a show for us this evening. And again, big thanks to the Schwantz for helping out and get the cropping and then running a fantastic race on top of it. Join the Discord, follow the YouTube, FF6 Worlds Collide here on Twitch as well, and we're willing to help out. But back to the action here. Fitz getting in there, getting a nice proc out of the gate here from Murder Child.
With the proc, yeah, absolutely. Realm is eating her broccoli.
Love that term. It's so good. I was happy to come up with the term Ragnaproc the other day. I felt good about that.
Shout out to Jeremy Arroyo. Busting out the Palador there to avoid falling one. Not a play that you see terribly often, but it's always super cool whenever.
Oh, look at this! The Pearl proc off the jump for the Palador too. I like that. That's nice.
Can we get another one? We can.
We can. How about it? There we go. So that's 25% chance with any sword swing there. So 1 in 4 shot looking good. Can we get a third? Maybe.
Ooh,
nope.
Good night, Lost.
How about a hyperdrive to the face?
That life 3 though, bringing them back.
That's pretty good. And then down comes shot. And the
Another
third
proc.
proc. 3 out of 4. Yeah, Fitz putting on a show here, no less. And the end comes beyond chaos. So charging up for that Gauntlet that has done a lot of damage. Looking to break the shields. I like this play.
Better kill him. And
Go
it
big.
does.
Yeah, there it is.
Room.
And Dunzo.
Very well played by one free Fitz there.
Beautiful. You love to see it. So GG across the board. There are your 5 finishers for the evening here, friends. Fitz is having a rough go of it, having to run back through part of KT. But all in all here, literally everybody just throwing out some of the best stuff there. And seeing that the routes converge after they differentiated so far, we saw some commonalities with going through Magitech, like Falcon had mentioned, and Schwantz as well, about going through Magitech and then going through Burning House and doing that at this point. But doing it in such different tempos and still getting it back to where it was supposed to be. It was very, very nice. So looking at all this, I can see that the logic behind it, Gar. But still, it's still a lot to kind of sit down and plan out, especially when you have that we didn't see any of our runners here have to deal with any of those penalties for over routing and having a bunch of bosses at that point. So it's still a lot to route without hanging overhead.
I think I saw one. I think maybe it was Fitz who got 13 bosses killed. So wound up getting basically additional boss levels, but that didn't matter because the last boss that he killed was the one that gave him the thing. And the next fight that he did was Final Kefka, for which the boss levels do not apply. So overall, very terrific run by all of our runners here. It's always interesting to see how people approach permadeath seeds. You saw Mark kind of like at the start going, pretty reckless, I would say. I don't know if reckless is the right word, but not afraid to use those Phoenix Downs. So, if you got bopped a little bit too hard by a random monster, no worries, just pick them up. So, and then I know me personally, I'm inclined to be a lot more conservative with how I use my Phoenix Downs in a permadeath seed. So, it's just interesting to see a little bit of thought divergence there.
Right, you are there, Gar. Well, I believe we're all said and done here. I don't think we're going to be getting anyone else joining us here in the booth after Fitz and OS have finished their stuff up at this point. So I think we're clear to send off here, friends. But Gar, this was an absolute treat. What a way to dig into the tournament of the month, and actually a very nice example of a spoiler log race and how it can work out when you have the ability to route things out. That even though that we all took different routes going through it here, that the way that things worked, you could see some of the commonality, you can see how things converged and what they were doing. But even with having all of that knowledge, sometimes the unexpected happens, and that's what makes this rando so great.
Yeah, 100% agreed. So just one final shout out to SpeedGaming. Thank you for being flexible in our time slot here. Thanks to all of our viewers who watched our fantastic runners today. And again, please go and give them a follow. They would certainly appreciate it, and I would appreciate it for them. And stay hydrated too. I didn't get a chance to say that the entire seed, but drink water, friends.
Yep, now's the time. We were watching this for over an hour and a half, so definitely get that hydration and don't forget to do that. Get up, stretch. And but nonetheless, friends, FF6 Worlds Collide. Check us out. YouTube.com, Discord, here on Twitch. And again, we'll be back again here on Speed Gaming a week from now for more fun and frivolity. I'm Retrophile TV, joined in the booth with I Am Gar. Shouts to the Swants for taking care of all of this here behind us here. But Gar, an absolute pleasure, my friend. I will hopefully see you again in the booth again soon.
Same to you, Retro, and everybody, have a good evening.
Good night, everyone.